There are two colleagues parking in the same office lot every single morning. Marcus rolls up at 852 in a matte black BMW X5 he leases for $890 a month. He parks right out front. He knows the boardroom looks straight down at that spot. Sophia parks in the back at 8. 20 in a 2021 Toyota Camry she bought used for cash. Marcus earns $96,000 a year. Sophia earns $115,000. Marcus has a net worth of negative $22,000. Sophia's is $1.3 million. Same building, same salary range. Completely different financial universe, and it all started in that parking lot.
Okay, wait, so you're telling me the average person spends more on their car than a millionaire? That makes zero sense to me.
I know it sounds backwards, but that's exactly the point. Most millionaires aren't trying to look rich. They're too busy actually building wealth.
But isn't a nice car kind of the whole reward for working hard? That's the whole vibe.
That vibe is exactly what the auto industry has been selling you for 40 years. A depreciating asset wrapped in leather seats and monthly payments.
Okay, but I can't just drive some ancient beater and look broke while I'm trying to move up in the world.
Nobody's saying drive a beater. A 3-year-old Toyota Camry isn't a beater. It's an engineered machine that will outlast your loan, your next apartment, and your first startup idea.
Ha! Okay, but what's the actual number difference we're talking about here? How bad is the math really?
The gap between a financed luxury car and a bought-used reliable car invested over 30 years. You're looking at anywhere between $800,000 and $1 million from one recurring decision.
$1 million from a car choice.
$1 million from a car choice. Welcome to compound interest, Jason. It has no mercy. Why this matters. Here's the thing about a car that nobody warned you about when you're 22. A car feels like the reward for finally making it. The first real paycheck, the first real flex. But statistically, it is the single biggest wealth killer most young people will ever choose to buy. And unlike a bad night out, it doesn't cost you once. It costs you every single month for years. According to Experian's Q4 2025 data, the average new car payment in America is now $767 a month. That's not a luxury car. That's a standard, average, run-of-the-mill financed vehicle. And according to Edmunds, 1 in 5 new car buyers in Q4 2025 locked in payments above $1,000 a month. Total American auto loan debt hit $1.68 trillion by end of 2025, a 37% jump since 2018. The average loan term, almost 69 months on a new car. That's nearly 6 years of payments. 6 years of payments on something losing value the entire time you're paying it. A new car drops roughly 20% in value the moment you sign the papers. By year 5, it's lost close to 40% of what you paid. By year 7, it's worth less than a third. So, you're paying for an asset that is actively getting cheaper while your payment stays fixed. Meanwhile, Thomas Stanley's national survey of millionaires found their median vehicle purchase price was $31,367. For decamillionaires, people with 10 million or more, it was $41,997. The average American is financing a car that costs more than the typical millionaire paid for theirs. You heard that right. The average person outspends the average millionaire on cars. An Experian study found that 61% of households earning over $250,000 a year drive Hondas, Toyotas, or Fords. Not Porsches. Not BMWs. Plain, reliable, boring, brilliant, mainstream cars. And according to Thomas Stanley's research, the number one brand among millionaires is Toyota. Toyota, followed by Honda, then Ford. Mercedes didn't show up until fourth. Only 23.5% of millionaires owned a car from the current model year. More than half drove vehicles older than 2 years, with the average being a 4-year-old car. These are not people who can't afford new. These are people who understand something most don't. They understand that a car is a tool, metal on wheels that moves you from A to B. The minute it becomes a statement, it starts costing you something money can't buy back. time. The time your money could have been compounding instead of depreciating. Let's break down exactly what's happening to Marcus and Sophia. Brink. Marcus pays $890 a month on a 36-month lease. At the end of 3 years, he owns absolutely nothing. He hands the car back and signs another lease because going back to something cheaper feels like losing. Sophia paid $21, $500 cash for her Camry 3 years ago and plans to drive it for 8 years. Her total monthly cost of ownership, averaged out, is roughly $320, including insurance and maintenance. The difference between their monthly car spend is about $570. $570 a month. Invested at 8% annual returns over 30 years becomes roughly $855,000. From a car. From the thing sitting in your driveway right now. That's not a trick. That's compound interest doing what it always does. It just needs fuel. And most people hand that fuel straight to the dealership every single month. The psychology trap. So why does almost everyone ignore this math? It's not stupidity, it's psychology. Your car is the most visible daily signal you send about who you are. Your house? Only your neighbors see it. Your clothes? People in your radius. But your car is seen by hundreds of people every single day. In traffic, in parking lots, at the drive-thru, on the school run, on a first date. It tells a story about you before you even open your mouth. And in a culture that equates visible spending with success, a BMW says, "I made it." A 2021 Camry says, "Nothing." And that silence is exactly the point. Marcus gets compliments on his car. Sophia has never once been complimented on hers. But Marcus's investment account earns nothing from those compliments. Sophia's index fund earns about 8% a year, silently, automatically, without anyone noticing. Here's the brutal irony. The Camry driver is statistically more likely to be the millionaire. The BMW driver is statistically more likely to be underwater on a lease they can barely afford. Sarah Stanley Follow, who surveyed over 600 millionaires for The Next Millionaire Next Door, put it bluntly. She wrote that spending in anticipation of becoming wealthy makes you a slave to the paycheck. Marcus drives the BMW because he believes the SE Bruti. But the preview is eating the feature film. Every $890 going to the leasing company is $890 not going to his Roth IRA or his brokerage account. He's performing a future he is actively preventing from arriving. Here, as another layer, car costs aren't just the payment. Luxury vehicles carry higher insurance premiums, often $150 to $250 more per month than a comparable mainstream car. Premium fuel adds another $30 to $60 a month over regular. Marcus's. Prove his real monthly car cost lands somewhere north of $1,150 total. On $96,000 a year, that's nearly 14% of his gross income going to a depreciating asset. Financial planners recommend keeping all transportation costs under 10% of gross income. He's 40% above that threshold. Every single month. Sophia's total monthly car cost, all in, is around $460. On her salary, that's about 5% of gross income, half the recommended ceiling. The annual gap between their approaches is over $8,400. That's $8,400 a year feeding her future instead of a leasing company's. See quarterly earnings report. The math proof. Let's run the lifetime numbers because this is where it gets genuinely hard to look away. Person A finances a new $50,000 car at 7% April over 72 months. Monthly payment, around $845, total paid over the loan, just over $60,800. After 6 years, that car is worth maybe $20,000 net cost, $40,800. Then they trade in and repeat. Over 30 years of working life, 5 cycles, person A spends over $200,000 just on cars. And that. S before insurance, fuel, and the fact they're always underwater for most of the loan. Person B buys a 3-year-old certified pre-owned car for $22,000 in cash. They drive it 8 years. Sell it for $7,500, net cost over 8 years, $14,500. Over 30 years, 4 cars total. Total out of pocket, about $58,000. Lifetime saving compared to person A, north of $140,000. But the real number is person B investing the monthly gap. The difference between $845 and $180 is $665 a month. $665 a month at 8% over 30 years grows to roughly $985,000. Nearly $1 million from choosing a used Camry over a financed luxury car. Now here's where the real-world examples hit different. Warren Buffett, the man whose net worth has crossed $100 billion, drove a 2014 Cadillac XTS. He bought it with hail damage, actual dents in the metal, because he saw no reason to pay for cosmetics. Mark Zuckerberg has been photographed in an Acura TSX and a Volkswagen Golf, $25,000 range cars. Ingvar Kamprad, IKEA's founder and one of Europe's wealthiest people ever, drove a 1993 Volvo into the 2000s. These are end. T publicity stunts. This is how people who actually build wealth think about cars. A car is a tool. The moment it becomes a trophy, it's a liability. The Ramsey Solutions National Study of Millionaires found that 94% of them consistently lived below their means. Only 31% averaged a six-figure income over their careers. 69% built wealth on moderate salaries. The top 5 professions: engineer, accountant, teacher, manager, attorney. Teachers. The people we culturally treat as underpaid were showing up in millionaire surveys. Because the profession doesn't determine the outcome, the gap does. The gap between what you earn and what you spend. And the car is ground zero for most people blowing that gap wide open. Consumer Reports confirms what millionaires already know. Toyota, Honda, and Mazda lead reliability rankings. A 2021 Toyota Camry bought used for $18,000 today will reliably run 200,000 miles with basic maintenance.
So I've been thinking about this, and I think my thing is I just don't want to look like I'm struggling. Like the car signals that you've arrived, you know.
Right. And that instinct is completely normal. The problem is the signal is lying. A BMW lease doesn't signal wealth, it signals a $890 monthly obligation.
But nobody on the street knows it's a lease. They just see the car.
Exactly. So you're spending real money to create a fake impression on strangers who will forget your car the moment you turn the corner.
When you say it like that, it sounds insane.
It is insane. But it's insane in a very human way. We're wired to signal status. The trick is figuring out which signals actually cost you your future.
Okay, so what do the people actually getting wealthy, like the teachers and accountants in those studies, what are they driving?
Used Toyotas, Hondas, Fords. Cars they bought outright or financed for 36 months max. Reliable, practical, fully paid off as fast as possible.
So being boring with your car is actually the flex.
The real flex is retiring 10 years before everyone who made fun of your Camry. That's the flex nobody posts about. Resolution, mindset shift. Let me bring it back to Marcus and Sophia because there's something important left to say. Marcus is 32. If he changes nothing. He arrives at 65 with a mountain of car memories and not much else. If he switches to a paid-off used car tomorrow and invests the difference for the next 33 years. That single behavior change compounds to over $1 million in additional retirement wealth. One decision. Not a side hustle, not a career change, not a secret investment strategy. Just a different car. But here's what most financial content gets wrong. It tells you what to do without telling you why it's so hard. The reason people keep leasing BMWs they can't afford is identity, not ignorance. They know the math is bad. They've seen the articles. They've watched the YouTube videos. But knowing and doing are different when the car you drive tells people who you are every single day. The shift happens when you flip the script on what the car actually says about you. The person driving the modest car isn't the person who can afford better. They're the person who understood the game early enough to win it. They make peace with being unimpressive to strangers who will never know or care about their net worth. and in exchange, they bought time. The only thing money can produce that actually matters. Here's the framework that actually works. Stop thinking about the car payment in monthly terms. Think about it in lifetime terms. Think about it in opportunity cost. Every dollar you spend on impressing strangers in traffic is a dollar leaving your future self. The wealthy people who drive $30,000 cars aren't doing it out of fear or limitation. They do it because they've done the math and they know exactly what that car payment would become. They've already run the $855,000 calculation. And they chose the Camry. And here's the question. Nobody in the dealership is ever going to ask you, not what can you afford per month, but what do you want your life to look like in 30 years? Those are very different questions, and only one of them matters.
Okay, I've actually done the math on my own situation. I was about to sign a lease on a $44,000 SUV. The payment was going to be $780 a month.
And
if I invest that $780 instead for the next 30 years, even at half the expected return, I'm looking at over $500,000.
Now you're seeing it. The question was never, can I afford this car? It was, what does this car cost me in 30 years?
I feel kind of sick about how close I came to signing that.
Don't feel sick. Feel informed. Most people never run those numbers. You did. That's the difference between Marcus and Sophia.
So what did I actually buy instead? I'm genuinely curious what the Volky approved move is here.
2022 Honda CR-V, certified pre-owned, 31,000 miles. Paid $23,500. That car will run reliably past 200,000 miles if you don't ignore the maintenance.
That's actually a really solid car though.
That's because sensible and bad aren't the same thing. They just feel the same when you're 25 and trying to impress people who aren't paying your bills.
Okay, but here's the thing I still don't get. You said the car is just the beginning. What's the thing that's even bigger?
The house, Jason. The house is the car's bigger, quieter, more dangerous cousin. And that's a conversation for next time.
Oh no. Is it bad?
Let's just say the car cost you $1 million. The house, if you get it wrong, costs you a lifestyle. Sophia is 45 now. She's on track to retire at 57 if she wants to. Not because she earned more. Not because she got lucky. Because for the last 19 years, the back corner of that parking lot has been silently funding her freedom. Marcus is staring at another lease renewal form on his desk right now. Same car, newer year, higher payment. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a number is starting to form. He's been doing the math. Quietly. For the last 2 weeks. The number is $855,000. The amount he calculates is sitting inside every lease renewal he's ever signed. He's about to make a decision that will define the next 3 decades of his financial life. And we're going to cover exactly what he does, and the one financial trap that's even bigger than the car in the next video. Because the car is just the beginning. There's a second decision that most people make in their 30 that quietly doubles the damage. If you liked the video, then hit a like to the bottom, and thanks for watching our video, and please subscribe to support us. See you in the next videos.